Hey, well, good afternoon or good morning to you. Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur USA. I am DJ Paul, and just want to take a quick review on Tottenham as it is right now, including the Champions League game against Borussia Dortmund. That was good. That was good in terms of picking up the points that was needed to keep us in the top eight. I look around the standing today, and incidentally, maybe that all six Premier League teams are going to actually make it into the round of 16. That is great representation for the English club, but more so than any other club, Tottenham, who is struggling in the league, is sitting fifth at the conclusion of the seventh round. Now we have the next round against Frankfurt, which will decide us finishing. The points are very close. It is just like the Premier League table where everybody's bunched up, and there are chances that we can drop out or we can win and solidify that spot in there. So all we have to do right now is have our destiny in our own hands to finish in the top eight. But we will be finishing in the top 16, no doubt about that. Even with a disastrous game, I think we won't slide that far. We'll still be a part of it. But what is important is that we will be playing an extra game or two, I think two extra games to make it to the other rounds, and we want to avoid that. So that is important for us. Next week, we look forward to Burnley after a relatively good performance again, yesterday, and picking up those 3 points. So we have to now buckle down and beat Burnley. There is no doubt that our Premier League life is vested or should be vested in this game coming up. We have a few injuries which are serious. Bergval is injured. I'm not sure about Gray because Bergwall is the only one that they came out and said, but Bergwall definitely is injured, and we have Palhinha before, which we're looking forward to him coming back with the recovery. But I think just based on what we saw, and now that we're down to two games a week, and in a minute or so we're going to be down to one until the Champions League other round gets started. I think it's in February or whenever it gets started, doesn't matter. We're going to actually be down to one game a week. So we can go in full bore where we can actually play players longer and have a good recovery. In the meantime, just to sandwich the Premier League and the Champions League, everything is one season. So you could actually just talk about everything across the board. We are sitting well in the Champions League, and like I would probably say that no one really expected us to be there, but we're amongst the giants, and so that is where we're supposed to be. I don't want to see it as a weakness that we can compete with the Champions League, because the great thing about a tournament is that you get cross draws, and because even in this instance when you're going to have club can't play each other from the same country, then you could actually get the stronger teams being knocked out, and that will pave the way for you to go as far as possible. That's the beauty about tournaments and knockout, that you can be the Cinderella and get favorable draws all the way to the finals. And hopefully, with that being said, Spurs can find themselves hitting form. I'm very, very optimistic that we're going to actually at least get to the Elite Eight. I know we're going to, whoever we get in the first round, the round of 16, we're going to be at least in the Elite Eight. I have no doubt about that. And I have to believe that we're going to go as far as this run is going to take us, because then the focus itself can be on two fronts. The front is that when you look at the Premier League, just for argument's sake, and I believe in that at this time, the only thing that I would caution against, I'm not going to say I doubted Ange with what happened last year and him winning. But what I'll caution against that is that when you look at the table itself and you see that you're going to be going up against certain teams that cannot amass the amount of points for you to get relegated, you could actually invest the time and the players into how far you can go in the Premier League will be decided already. and what you'll be looking at is that, oh, I'm not going to get relegated. So if I'm not going to get relegated, let's try just what came out from Ange last year. We could actually see that in front of us. And to me, when you get to that stage, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to can games because you want to do well in the Champions League, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you can reserve your strongest team. Remember that when it comes to the Champions League, you can now resubmit a roster once you get to the knockout stage. So therefore, players like Tell can come in and also Conor Gallagher can come in, and if we sign any other player, Bissouma can be added. So if he wasn't added in the first place, so there are things that can actually happen to change the complexion of the squad. And so we can look at it from that perspective. Now we can actually drop a goalkeeper if we want to, and bring it, with everything that we're doing, because all hands will be on deck once the group stage are complete. So I'm not going to beat that up more than how I've done already. I think we get the point where that is. The thing that will draw my ira right now. What's the right here now? Right here now is the way we say it as a Jamaican. Right here now. Right now. I'm stepping it. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Let's talk some football. Continue to talk some football. But right now, it is really, really bad. And so, without getting into the Daniel Levy debate, is that I expected change. I expected change, and that change has not come. And I'm very, very, very disappointed. I'm not an Enoch out or Levy out or Frank out. I'm not an out guy, right? The minute you get predisposed to what your opinions are, you can't accept change when it comes. I know that it's bad, so I'm looking at what happened on the leave as bad, and then look to see where the improvements are. If I'm not seeing that, then I'm going to call it out. And right now, I am not seeing the improvement in terms of us going into the market and getting players. There are players out there, in the window, this window, the general window. You have to test the waters. You have to test the water. If you want to be a big club, there are players who want to come. There are players who can move. You just have to be willing to move. You look in the African Cup of Nations, and you see some real stalwarts out there that you can actually bring in to make the team better. You don't have to sign any players. You can go out, and I think what is the allotment for loans? You can probably get about two. We have two loans already. We probably can get two more or one more player on loan to the club. I'm not sure what that. I know the rule of going out, that you can't have more than 8 players going out on loan that are first teamers. But I don't know the income and what those rules are. And so even if we go out and we sign a player, especially a player that we said this plays for the long term, because this is the way we have to look at it. You can go and try and get one player for the long term and one for the short term. Timo Werner is not the right example to use, but we can treat it the way we treat Tell, Odebeer and Timo, because we had 3 players on loan. So at least the rule is you can have 3, because we did have 3, and therefore if we go out and get another one with Palinia and Palinia and Kolomoani, then we're okay. We'll be good in terms of quota, but we need at least 2 to 3 more players. Buy one, get 2 on loan. We should be able to target that and go after that to get Frank some help, because even though the injuries are setting in, and this is bad, and this is not just happening the last 2 years. This has been happening even since Pochettino was here, where we get devastated throughout the season, with Harry Kane going down, Son going down. So Dembele, long-term injuries. We have that throughout, for a long, very, very long time, upwards of 15 years. So it is not just this set of medical staff that is a problem. Spurs seem to be a problem when it comes on to injury. And the thing is that we get them in flurry. And I don't understand why. So something has to be done about, either the training, something. I don't know. And this happened to every single manager so far except Nuno. Nuno wasn't here long enough for that to happen. When you talk about from Pochettino all the way now up to Frank, so that in itself is becoming it's an epidemic, and it's becoming a pandemic every year. We are going through this, and we need to put a stop to it. Wherein we're having too many players out at the same time. But at the same time, when you have a window closed that you needed time to get things together, and you don't after 120 days, we were supposed to be able to fill what we need to fill, the spots we need to fill. Even without the injuries, we had problems. We have problems in with Madison, which was a long-term injury, on Kulishevsky. So therefore, when the window opened, instead of selling Johnson as a first business, we should have been bringing two players in as a first, business that we do. And yet we sell Johnson, and we haven't brought anyone in. And we have the man who replaced Johnson is injured and out. And so it is very, very disappointing when you look at what's happening in terms of the window. I did not get excited when they said about $100 million towards transfer. I think we're plus in the buying market right now. I think we have a delta of maybe what for Conor Gallagher and for Johnson. What's the difference there? $4 or $5 million, whatever the difference is. It doesn't even matter what it is. But if you have $100 million to spend, we can go out there and spend 25 or 50 on two players to bring them in to offer help to Frank. And that's where I'm going to leave it. But I look forward to the Burnley. I just wanted to say this is supposed to be a good time just to support the club, get behind the club, see how far we can get in the Champions League, because the Champions League money is not going to kick in until the next window. That is when you're going to get a windfall. We get nothing from last year, so participating in the Champions League should give us a little bit more in the coffer to go after players, and we want to make sure that we put ourselves in a position where we can buy players. We don't have to go out there and try to get it done all in one shot. But what I'm saying is that if we finish respectable, and we have continuity in the base with the team, getting players who need to go, bring other players along, then we could look at it and said, let's use the summer window. As a matter of fact, start it now, then use the summer window, and then look forward to say next year we're supposed to be competing on all front. Doesn't matter where we're going to finish, but I think we're going to finish in the top 10. I have no doubt about that, or just my wish as a Tottenham fan that we finish in the top 10, which would have been an improvement, and see how far we can go in the Champions League. And that is supposed to calm some nerve. I'm going to say this before I say anything else. I'm not a Poch guy. I'm definitely not, because he's not a good manager. I just think that he's just a scratch right now for the itch. And we're looking to feel good by bringing Poch back. I want a manager who we're not sentimentally attached to, and we can give him a clean slate if Frank is not here. My preference is to see Frank do what he needs to do with better players, with the club backing him, and give him another window in the summer window to get the players that he actually wants and how he wants to play. I know in some cases Frank has not helped himself or cover himself too well, but that is because he does not have the players that he actually wants. And Frank is a slow starter, and so I'll give him that, and I will make sure that, in my opinion, I'm sure that Frank will come good. I think he needs time. I think he needs players, and I think that just having a bad start and an ordinary window to start the season was not helpful. Losing Madison, Kulishevsky, and Solanke behind that, and Bissouma losing his head, all of those stuff contributed to it. Because then if you have even with Bissouma there, then you don't have to push Javis Simons away. We had to push Javis Simons to bed him in early and stuff like that. And the youngsters, we're giving them too many minutes and too much responsibility, to carry the team forward. So now with the injuries and everything that is, those things are beginning to offset themselves. So hopefully we can have a core of players that we could just go forth, and everyone's going to give their best effort on towards the end of the season, and pray that the back room does bring some more players in. I'm DJ Paul for Tottenham Hotspur USA. Be good, walk good until next time, and as always, come on, you Spurs.